keep going to battle for TalkSport? No, I'm not. I'm not
but
going.
the crazy thing is, we have a great relationship with you, Frank. We continue to do so.
But
you
don't have to, Frank. And you do, but
you don't have to go for battle, Frank. But you cannot. I think you know me relatively well, Frank. I'm an equitable, objective man. I stand by every single observation I've made about Tyson Fury, both good and bad. And you guys take all the compliments and none of the criticism. And it seems to me like a one-dimensional set of thinking. And I expected better. And if we're not going to get better, that's fine. It's no big deal.
Simon.
It's no big deal.
Simon, so did I from you. Because what you've not done any time in any of your columns or anything is mention that he's got bipolar.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, if I'd have written a column about Tyson Fury's medical condition, you'd have been over me like a rash.
That's 100% right. And listen, I'm not a fan of either one of these idiots, but this is interesting. And we're going to get into it right after the intro.
Get down!
What's up, family? I'm TMT and this is No Cap Combat. This is a recent discussion on TalkSport about Tyson Fury. Let's get into it.
Does this mean that when Tyson and those around him go off with insulting and disrespectful and diminishing comments about others, everyone's just got to accept it and say, okay, Tyson Fury's got bipolar, so we just price that in. When he starts insulting people, which he does regularly, when he starts diminishing people and making personal observations about people, which he does regularly, everyone's just got to say we all must feel sorry for Tyson because he's got bipolar, and all the acolytes around him, all his management team that come out with the same sort of nonsense as well, his father's behaviour over in Saudi, everyone's just got to sit there and say, no, Tyson, we all must now price that into our thinking and give him a pass.
Guys, I just wanted to quickly highlight, and I just want to say I got no disrespect for anybody who's got any type of mental health issue or any condition. I feel for you. I know there's a serious thing going on, but I just want to ask you in the comments or anything like that, has any of you heard about this bipolar condition before the aftermath of this fight? Because I've never heard it before. I've never heard it brought up in the previous fight against Dillian White, against Derek Chisora, against the Wilder fights. Never. I've never heard anything. And now after his first loss, this comes up. Let me know, guys.
Frank,
no one's saying that at all.
Well, you kind of are.
And as regarding the team, I mean, you can only talk when you say management. He only has one manager and he only has one dad, and that whatever they say, that's not Tyson saying. But whatever Tyson says, whatever
you are
Tyson
judged by the company you keep, Frank.
Well, you asked me. Let me answer the question you just asked. No, you haven't got to do that. But you should prefix it by saying he's bipolar. And what's in his head, he says, like at the end of the fight, Happy New Year. No one actually said at the end of the fight, in any of the reports, hardly any of the reports I've seen, except the guys who've been waiting to dig their knives into him, no one has said how they embraced each other, the fighters, how Tyson must have kissed him about 3 times.
Frank, I'll give you the alternate view on this. The praise for Tyson Fury over the years from certain quarters has been quite significant. And even in the article that I wrote last week, which you responded to, and one of these digital guys shoved a proportion of it under your nose and you responded to it, referred to him as charismatic, enigmatic, charming, engaging. All of those are taken as a given. And the moment criticism comes, oh, hang on a second, that's unfair. And that's what people get a bit fed up with.
And that's true. For the past 2 years, Tyson Fury and his family have been headlined. Tyson Fury's books, his Netflix shows, all #1 bestsellers. The support this man's got from the UK public and the world has been unparamounted, especially where he come from, the weight loss, the depression. Everybody, he was the #1 guy. He transcended sport. People who didn't even watch the sport started watching it. But you say any criticism, anything about him or about his team, you get jumped upon, and then that's not right. You should be able to take the rough with the smooth.
Well, I get fed up with what you say when the headlines talks about thuggery.
Well, there was thuggery in Saudi.
That's what the headlines say.
The language that he uses is thuggish and boorish. It is overbearing and unpalatable.
He's never, to my knowledge, been a thug outside the ring to anybody. Who's he hit?
Well, depends what you
He'd be
define
arrested if he
thuggery as
was hit.
behaviour.
None of that's happened.
Depends what
What's
you
happened
you're
is
taking. You're taking exception.
The man is an absolute consummate warrior. You couldn't leave anything in the ring more than he does in every one of these fights.
And no one's questioned that, Frank, have they?
Some people are dismissive of it. And
well, they're not, Frank, and you've alighted upon this, and you're being remarkably defensive of it.
Right.
And I understand to some extent why, but I don't feel that what you're pushing back against is unfair comment, because it is. I do hear you that certain people are jumping on the agenda because he's lost now and they can really stick the boot in, and I get that and I understand that. But I also think that there's an equitability and fairness. I think the way that, for example, if we're going to talk about vested interest, I think the way that Tyson's engaged and the ban that's been put on TalkSport is preposterous. And he's cited people like me who have been a major advocate of his over the years, a major supporter of his, because they perceive that one thing has been said. All of a sudden, everything gets up. Then I have to listen to the insulting disposition.
TalkSport have promoted Tyson Fury to such an extent that even other fighters like Joshua, and they don't have anything to do with TalkSport because they are Team Fury. But he's even switched on them. He's even switched on TalkSport, his number one rappers. It's crazy. This is where a real manager and somebody who really cares about you, right? And that's lacking in boxing promotion, right? Would have a kind word in the ear and say, listen, this is not good for your image or your public relations or your pocket. You've got to keep your emotions. I know they always say business ain't personal. Boxing is personal, because boxing, you've got to go in there with your heart. You can't fake it. It's real. But sometimes you've got to think.
About how much money I lost, what I am, what I'm not, and everyone's just got to get on with that from Tyson. And there comes a point where people get a bit fed up with it, and so Tyson has made himself fair game for this.
But you're a big boy.
Exactly.
Take it.
I do.
You can't dish it out if you can't take it.
He gives it, and he can take it.
So you dish it out, don't you?
Isn't it very? For me, I find it very simplistic. If he's continually getting stick, especially what he got from that idiot Adam Catterall, if he's getting.
Hey, by the way, Adam Catterall is a great pundit and a commentator, and tells the truth. That's why people don't like him.
Was said about him and so forth. What, he doesn't have to speak to you. There's no obligation to speak to anybody.
And that's fine.
There's a lot of fighters don't even speak to the press. And the Mal, by the way, who are constant. I mean, it's not one. There's about 3 journalists in there who keep kicking him, and that is what it is. So he doesn't speak to them.
Really appreciate you being here, guys. I'd love to see your comments and your opinions on the subject, and I'll catch you soon. Spud.
Get down!